Okay, so I'm going to give an overview of my equipment first. This is a 10-gallon boil kettle. It also has what's called a hop spider. So this is a hop spider that sits on top, and this bag holds the hops so the sediment residue does not get inside of the wort. This kettle also has a ball valve on the bottom and a pickup tube at the bottom, so you can easily transfer the hot wort. I have a simple 5-gallon water tun. Also got the same stainless steel ball valve on the bottom. That one's pretty simple. Don't need anything bigger than that generally. Here is my 10-gallon mash tun. Mash tun comes with I built this one myself, but this one has a stainless steel false bottom with a pickup tube and another stainless steel ball valve. I have, other equipment I need a funnel. This secondary kettle, which I basically use as a cooling vessel. So you can see here's my copper immersion chiller. So this grain is for brewing a Russian Imperial Stout. It's about 22 pounds of grain. Of course, I've got the primary fermenter, which is a 6.5-gallon carboy right here. 6.5-gallon carboy. And corny cake. So that's generally the big stuff, the big gear. All the other stuff I have, it's just the small apparatus, measuring equipment, tubing, stuff like that. I'm not going to show you, but I'll be using all that stuff to brew this Russian Imperial Stout. Okay, so this is the ingredient list. This is the printoff from Beersmith. You can see the ingredients here, the grains, the hops, and the yeast. This is the Russian Imperial Stout. We'll start with, of course, water. I live in Chicago, so I'm going to be using Chicago tap water. I'll do some additions, modifications to that water. Then 18 pounds of two-row malt from the US, 1 pound of caramel crystal malt 40L, 3/4 pound chocolate malt, and then 1/2 pound of the black patent malt. I'm going to be using 4 ounces total of hops. The hops are all in pellet form. 3 ounces of the Challenger at 60 minutes, and then 1 ounce of Golding at 30 minutes. I'm going to be using a yeast that I'm going to harvest during this process, so I'm not going to be using this Safel 04 yeast. I'm going to be using a yeast that's currently in a primary fermenter that I use to brew an English stout. So I'm going to take that yeast from the primary fermenter, rack the beer off of it, and then wash it and put it back to work on this Russian Imperial Stout. So I think there should be plenty of yeast cells available to ferment this beer, because it's going to be pretty heavy beer. It's estimated to be a 1.095 SG, and estimated ABV of 9.5. So that's the recipe. You can see kind of the mash here as well. These are all calculated numbers, and then aging and bottle, how much sugar I would need to bottle condition these. I'm probably going to bottle this just because I do want it to age longer, so I'm not going to keg it. So that's the recipe there. My friend William will be joining me to brew this one, so you can see the brewer, myself, and my assistant brewer, William. And that's it. We'll start brewing. Step 1, gathering water for the beer. I'm just going to use this to transfer the water to the boil kettle. That way I don't have to lift a whole 10 gallons of hot water, because this recipe probably calls for about 10 gallons. And that's it. First step, get your water ready. Right now I'm going to treat this water with a Camden tablet, so probably half of a tablet. The Camden tablet just removes chlorine from the water. Okay, now I'm just going to split this Camden tablet in half. Don't have to worry about anything being sterile at this stage. So I can dip this in the water, it doesn't matter. Alright, that's it. So the water's getting warmer. It's boiling right now, close to boiling, so good time to pop a beer open. This is one of the brews that we did probably 5-6 weeks ago. This is a light amber ale. This is bottle conditioned, so there's some yeast at the bottom. Color is pretty nice. More of a pale color, I'd say, but yeah, I'm going to enjoy this one. It's got good carbonation, so good flavor, nice and balanced. Cheers. So now we're going to take this English stout, put it in the secondary. This has all been sterilized, tubing, the auto siphon's been sterilized, so we're ready to go. We're going to wait for this to fill up, and it should pretty much fill up to here. I think they're close to 5 gallons in there. And then we're going to gather all the yeast from the bottom here, wash that out, and reuse them. So that's it. Pretty much done racking this out. You can pull that up, William. You can see this pretty much filled up 5 gallons, which is exactly what we wanted to happen. There's some beer left in the primary fermenter, but you can see all that yeast that's at the bottom there, along with some trub. Daddy? So we're going to take this yeast and we're going to wash it real quick. So that's the next step after this. So we're going to take all this yeast that's under here. We're going to add that 2 quarts of boiled water that is now cooled. We're going to add that to this container, the primary fermentation vessel, and we're going to swish it around, and then with that, we're going to put that into this 2 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask. This is clear so we can kind of see where the trub and the yeast settles in the flask, and then from there we're going to pour out the top part and leave the trub behind. The important part of this is that everything from here on out needs to be sanitized. So we're going to sanitize this. The goal is basically to end up with white creamy yeast right here on the bottom. So you can see, Regina's not blocking the way, that from here on down is yeast, and here on up, that is just residual beer from basically this part of the beer that's left over. This English stout is probably going to produce a darker beer color, but we're going to reuse it anyway. So we're just going to decant this liquid off and then dump the yeast into the primary fermentation vessel immediately. We're not going to store it like I stored this one. This temperature readout is about 171 right now. So the recipe calls for this temperature to be about at 170.2. which is pretty good. One of the things that we'll actually lose heat on is transferring this over to the mash tun. So the mash tun will have to heat up, so I think this is a good temperature to actually bring it over and heat up the mash tun. And the goal is to bring over, I think it's about, I thought it was about 5 gallons. I'm going to double check the recipe, but I think it was 24 quarts, which is 6 gallons. Got a conversion here. So yeah, 4 quarts to a gallon. So that's 6 gallons of this liquid that's going to go into the mash tun, and then we're going to add the grain shortly after. Right now we've collected close to 6 gallons of water, at about 170 degrees. It's the strike temperature. So what we're gonna do now is dump our grain in there while stirring. We're still mixing this in. This is what it looks like from the top. Gonna add some more grain now. Dumped all the grain in there. As you can see, it's getting pretty foamy. Try to mix this in real good. The goal is to get the temperature of the mash to 152. Looks pretty full. 10 gallons here, it's almost, I'd say we probably have about 2 gallons left in the vessel. So it's going to be interesting sparging this. It's about 152 degrees inside the mash tun. We're going to put the lid on and start the timer for 60 minutes.